Hello, good afternoon, students. Today we are going to see the types of sentences, that is, simple, compound, and complex sentences. I am sure you have already read this, but once again, for your reference, I am going to make the video on this. And once you know the difference between simple, compound, and complex sentence, it becomes easier with you to use these sentences for the variety in your writing, and it makes your writing interesting. So, a simple sentence, you know that a simple sentence contains a subject and a verb, and it expresses a complete thought. A simple sentence is a single independent clause. Remember, a simple sentence has got a independent clause. It has got one subject and one predicate usually. Sometime two subjects and two predicate. So when there are two subjects, we call it compound subject. Sometime there can be two verbs or two predicate that can be called as compound predicate. All right. So here are some of the examples of the simple sentences for you. It will be easier for you to understand. First one, the cat crept through the dark house. So the cat is the subject and crept through the dark house, that is the predicate. Crept is the verb. So what is said about the subject, that's the predicate, and subject is the doer in the sentence. Another example also is given there for you. You can go through this. There are four examples, and first part is subject, and second part, which is written in green, that is predicate. So I'm sure everybody has understood what is a simple sentence. Let me once more clarify for you. A simple sentence expresses one complete idea. Okay, and you must keep in mind about the simple sentence that it may have a single subject and single verb, but sometime it may have two subjects and more than two verbs. So when two subjects are there, we call it compound subject, and two or more than two verbs, then compound predicate. Clear? So this is how about simple sentence. Now let's move on to compound sentence. What is a compound sentence? So compound sentence contains two independent clause. It has got two independent clause, and those two independent clauses are joined by coordinate conjunctions. Coordinate conjunctions, that is fanboys, as you can see in the bracket: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So these are seven conjunctions. They are known as fan boys. So compound sentences are joined by these seven conjunctions only, and they are known as fan boys, coordinate conjunctions. Here are the examples, some example for you. So the cat was unsuccessful in his attempt to catch the mouse, and the mouse was equally as unlucky in his attempt to get the cheese. Okay. Another example you can have, that is, the dog had watched all of this, but he had refused to become involved. I like books, she likes movies. So you can join it like I like books and she likes movies. there are some more examples given for you. You can refer to it. Okay, and remember the conjunctions fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, and they are used for conveying different meaning. Okay, now let's talk about complex sentence. What is complex sentence? Okay, so remember, a complex sentence is a sentence which has an independent clause and one or more than one dependent clause. It has got one independent clause and one or more than one dependent clause. And here dependent clause is joined by not coordinate conjunctions but subordinate conjunctions. And what are subordinate conjunctions? We'll see. There is a list like although, before, after, since, as soon as. There are many, and the list will be provided to you. A subordinate conjunctions begins the dependent clause. So a subordinate conjunctions starts the dependent clause. It's written in the starting. A dependent clause begins a sentence must be followed by comma. Remember, if a dependent clause begins a sentence, then there must be a comma. A dependent clause has subject and a verb, but it does not make complete sense on its own. Therefore, it is called dependent clause. It depends on the principal clause or main clause for the complete meaning. Now, these are the list of subordinate conjunctions as I told you: after, how, until, although, if, unless, as much as, if. Now, examples, sample examples of complex sentence. After he gave it some thought, the mouse decided to wait until later for his trek. Okay, so here you can see after is the subordinate conjunctions. There are some more examples written for you, and there are some more examples I can give it to you my own. For example, since my mother was unwell, comma, I cooked dinner for my family. Since my mother was unwell, I cooked dinner for my family. Okay, so since is the subordinate conjunctions here, and rest of the sentence is independent. Since is dependent clause, I cooked dinner for my family, it's a independent clause. And remember, there are two kinds of subordinate. There are many types of subordinate conjunctions, okay, which are used here for the correct usage, correct sentence. As we have discussed, if, unless, provided, though, although, and all these subordinate conjunctions have got different functions, like as much as, whereas, than. It is used to compare, because, since, so that. They are used to state reasons. If, unless, provided that for condition. Though, although for contrasting. Where, wherever to indicate place. As soon as, whenever, until. They are used to indicate time. Okay, so compound and complex may look same, but they are different. Okay, so remember, a compound complex sentence is a sentence that has at least two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. Now mix of the two, compound complex sentence. So it has got at least one, two independent clause and one dependent clause. And the same subordinating and coordinating conjunctions are used here. Example, after the two adversaries had spent years playing this cat and mouse